Hello, welcome to the Gamer. I'm your host, Rob. Welcome to a day of TTS tournament coverage. Me and James, my main man, over here. James, hello. How are you? Excited today?
Yeah. It's a bit early.
Oh, it is early. We're not used to this, are we? During the lockdown times, getting up this early for tournaments. That's why we're getting the practice in 2021, James. We're looking for some physical tournaments in the future, but until then, we've got these 50-man TTS events to go. That's pretty wild, right?
50 people got up this early. Oh.
Yeah, well, I know, it's wild. And they're from all around the world as well. So they're players from all around the world playing in this TTS event, organised by the immutably perfect Mr. Owen Jackson, as always. We'll be cut into that game almost immediately. Thank you to everyone who has joined us live. What up, Fluxy Walker, Default? What is going on? So let's jump over to the game straight away, and we'll tell you what's going on over here, shall we? James, what the hell are we looking at? What armies have we decided to face off against this morning?
We have some Iron Jaws.
Early morning start day.
early morning start day. So we have some Iron Jaws in a... Oh, no. Oh, in an Iron Fist.
We do.
Which basically lets them move a lot, doesn't it? So it gives them D6 move to anyone that's in that battalion in the hero phase.
So as you can see, we'll just fire through the list really quickly. So the Iron Jaws army is an Iron Sun's army. It's got a Weird Knob Shaman. It's got a Mega Boss or Maw Crusher. The Weird Knob Shaman is a general with that obvious command trait Dead Cunning, and he's got this shamanic skull cape as well. And he's obviously got the great big green-handed Gork. He's got Mega Boss or Maw Crusher. He's got that Sunblessed armor, and he's a weird one, so he's going to be ignoring some spells, which is cool. 2 War Chanters, as you need all the time. 1 with a Killer Beat, 1 with a Fixing Beat. 6 Gore Grunters, which is, after my experiences recently of TTS, enough Gore Grunters. 15 Uruk Ard Boys, 10 Uruk Ard Boys, another 10 Uruk Ard Boys, all in the Iron Fist. He's up against, though, we thought early morning, we wouldn't mess around with anything too techy. He's up against what we can only describe as the meme list of the century. It's the
army no one ever was going to buy.
But now has been bought at least twice. You've got 30 Gores in 3 lots of 10. You've got Grashek Felhoof and Be'lakor. And then you've got 2 times 10 Ungol Raiders, Grashek's Despoilers. And you've got, I think, if I get this right, 14 Cockatrices is what you are looking at there, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the gorgeous, gorgeous army. There is, of course, our mascot for the day, Gotrek. Gotrek's going to get us through 2021, James.
Nice.
And here you go. The Cockatrices. The meme list. Our early Sunday morning army on a lovely Saturday morning, James.
Absolutely. It's a bit disappointing, isn't it? I'm sure he could have got some more in.
You think he could have got some more in? He could have, but I think he wanted Be'lakor in there as well. So we're playing Battle for the Pass, and if you guys want to see what this is like. So each objective, where we're looking from, this objective that you can see here, this is worth 1 to the player at the bottom, and the one at the top is worth 4, and then the 2 on the sides are worth 2 each. Now, if we were Gargants, we could kick this old objective into the middle, and it would be worth it would not be worth 1 to our opponents anymore, which would be quite fun. But there's only 1 mega Gargant list at this tournament. There are loads of other great lists. I did a list review show yesterday. There's loads of weird Skaven lists. There's loads of fun things. We obviously want to do some coverage of those at some point in the future. But right now, like for the next 2 games today, we'll do coverage of some of those games. But for right now, we just want to have a bit of a laugh, don't we? James, you're a bit of a Beast of Chaos player. How do you rate this, the dynamic setup of the Beast of Chaos list?
I think it'd be really interesting to see. I think the Cockatrice is one of those interesting models that has like its own little rule set. It's been reduced like 1 million times by 20 points since that book came out, I think. So like, I mean, what are they costing? 90 points. I think for 90 points, like, it's a good little model, right?
Right, so they move 12 inches, which is the important part, and their shooting attack, which is Petrifying Gaze, is a 10-inch range. Yeah, so they've got an effective 22-inch range threat. And it's basically you roll a 4+, yeah, and you take d6 mortal wounds. It's that simple.
14 times.
14 times. So you should be getting about 7d6 mortal wounds. That poor Maw Crusher, probably not long for this world. And and it's an interesting matchup because, as you know, the armor saves that you'll get inside, and around, on top of, in and through, even on their underpants, Iron Jaws generally. I know that Iron Jaws, they might also have Iron Pants, James, because they're rocking that 4-up armor save all day. Gotta
protect that area.
Got to protect all of the areas, effectively. So they're there and ready to rock. They could, but there's not a lot of like regular attacks coming out of this this dumb piece of Chaos Army, and it's just going to be mortal wounds punching through those armor saves is what we're probably going to see here.
I think I'd like to point out, if anyone from Games Workshop is watching, if this is the best army the community can come up with from the Beast of Chaos book, it might be time for a new book.
Agreed. The other version of this is about 220 goats. It's
Oh, I had that one. That was my list.
Hey P Pratt, Jog PLC, Big Daddy, thank you all for subscribing this early morning game. I hope you're all well. Let me know what's going on in the chat. HypnoKraken, I see you as well. Big love to you. Thanks for joining us today. Very, very excited about this day of TTS coverage. Obviously, this is a stupid game, but it's a good kickoff game for the day, James.
Yeah, I think we probably need a score reset in our overlay.
A what? Oh, a what?
It's a score on the game, but we don't. No one scored.
It's okay. Don't worry. I'll do that. And we'll just talk through. You're gonna have to vamp for me while I fix that. I'm the tech guy as well today.
Are they setting up? So Proposition Joe has just asked, aren't they setting up on the wrong edge for Battle for the Pass?
Right. So good point, James. Do you want to let us know what's going on there? So they're playing the. I'll inform thee. They're playing the old version of Battle for the Pass, 2019 version of Battle for the Pass, as opposed to this version of Battle for the Pass. The other version of Battle for the Pass. No, is this? Are they? No. Either this is the old version or the new version. No, the old version was a cross. I can't remember. No, it's Border War. That's why. Because it's not Battle for the Pass. Ladies and gentlemen, it's very early. Yeah, and it's the second day of the year. You can all
We've just woken up.
You can all leave me alone.
Proposition Joe there in the chat asking all the questions that we needed.
Prop Joe, big love to you. Big love to you. Love to Prop Joe. Right,
this is confusing because I have the stream up and then I was trying to move the map round to look and then realised that I'm not in the game. It's definitely too early. I'm back. I'm awake. I'm alive. I've had a cup of tea.
Right, let's look at what's going on here because this is meant to be Bodal. Right, let's get this sorted for you guys to watch back. Okay, Border War. There we go. Is that even how you spell it? Jesus. Right, okay. So the Mega Boss and Maw Crusher deployed at the back, along with the Weird Knob Shaman. Now, don't forget, Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, or anyone in the Iron Jaws army, obviously able to make that pre-game move. Not pre-game move, sorry. That hero phase move. So that Mega Boss and Maw Crusher is a genuine threat. You can whomp across the board, move here into the center, and attack a lot of this. Those cockatrices are particularly fragile. So they don't want to get in a fight. They've only got a 6-up save. They've only got 8 wounds each. It's arguable that one buffed up unit of Ardboys will smash through every single one of the cockatrices. So something to be aware of.
Got to catch them all, though. Got to catch them all.
You've got to catch each one of them. Now, Bellacor's in there as well, and Bellacor's obviously a solid pick, because Bellacor's going to be able to shut down one of the bigger units in the game. And it's interesting to think, or interesting to ask yourself, a Twitch chat, who do you think they're going to shut down? James, who do you think they're going to try and shut down? Is he going to elect to go for the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher? Is he going to elect to go for the big pigs, you think?
They're fast. the big boss from that Iron Fist, isn't it? From the Iron Fist is in that unit, so I think you'd also get the benefit of shutting that down because the cockatrices could pick him off, and then he loses that battalion buff. But also they're the threat that could get. I mean, turn 1, they could basically probably get across the board through that screen and smash and bash all the way through those cockatrices.
Maybe. I mean, they're fast, but it's that mega boss that's that's the biggest threat, I think, ultimately. But it's all about it's all an objective game. It's all an objective game. So all these units have got to sit in the midfield, which I think is a bit of a bonus to the now ever famous Cockatrice army, because
just look at them all.
Look at them all. Look at that. This is an army that exists at least twice in real life.
Yeah, well, I hope to see it, because looking at this deployed on the board makes me sad that I haven't seen this deployed in real life. Like, I'd love to walk past a table at an event and be like, what a nonce. Like, what have you done?
You definitely can't say that on Twitch. James, it's live coverage and we're playing properly.
Too early.
Okay.
Sorry. Take it back.
Okay, right, so we'll probably just delete this video. Right, okay, so
How rude.
We're into the first game. And, we're into the first turn, and
we've thrown some models. Adam's having a war.
Hey, Derek Allen, big love to you. Right, so everyone in the Twitch chat. So the decision on who gets to go first was taken by the Iron Jaws, and they gave that first turn to the Beast of Chaos. James, how do you feel about this first turn play? What do you think he's going to do? Trade off in the centre, or is he going to go ham? Those are the two options, really.
Yeah, I mean, I guess realistically, isn't he? He's going to hope that Adam pushes his army forward a little bit, just so he can. Well, I mean, we've just said, haven't we? The cockatrices are all the damage in Adam's list, but they are also made of paper. So the closer they get to the Iron Jaws army, the more likely they are to just get ripped apart.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what he's hoping, which is interesting.
Always interesting.
I would have thought that Adam wouldn't have brought his screen out. I mean, he's going to have to do more now because there's now a gap for everything to fit in.
There's I think there is, but if he plays it right, he might give up a couple of. He might give himself up a couple of bait cockatrices. James, I tell you what, I baited with a couple of cockatrices myself in my time, and it's a good play. It's a good play. You throw them out there unsolicited, and then you just see if there are any fish will bite the hook, basically.
There's just so many. I'm just sat here looking at them. I'm just like, there's just so many. Like, which one do you deal with?
Yeah.
They all look the same. Some poor cockatrice mom knocked out 14 matching children.
Yeah. There's a now obviously these movements that you're currently seeing, by the way, are pre-game moves. So you're currently seeing pre-game moves from these Ungol Raiders. So they get a 6-inch pre-game move. They're my favourite, probably, pre-game move unit in the game right now, James, that have it on their War Scroll. Untamed Beasts are really excellent, don't get me wrong. But for an extra 10 points, you get 10 random shots. When you play with the Untamed Beast, which I've played with a lot, you generally just do what you've done here. You move up, you move somewhere else, and you won't really do anything else. However, you move these 10 up, you move over, you fire some random shots off. Now, against the Iron Jaws, you're probably not even going to kill anything. However, if you're playing anything else where they've got like a light screen, you might do a couple of wounds. You might ping off a couple of models out of each unit. And that is, for that 10 points, I think that's fairly effective because it means that the board control for those screening units that you oftentimes get. So you'll end up with a screening unit, let's say here, and then as you ping off a bit, you maybe cut that part out. And if you can do that twice, that's not bad. That's not bad. And it means your opponent just can't ignore the unit, which I think is fun. Was there Daddy Cockatrice? I'm not sure. Potentially Derek Allen. Uh, okay, so both units of Ungors have run, and as you can see there, James, they're just looking to pin back that Maw Crusher. So. And the rest of the Iron Jaws army, basically, and they're trading off. This is one of my favourite battle plans. This is the example. This is what a trade is. This is what, when we talk about it on the list shows, we talk about it on something else. When an army can trade well, this is what they're doing. Adam's saying, "Hey, look, I'm going to score on these two objectives. You have to take these units off, right? And that's pretty much it. You're not allowed to get the rest of my army." So that's the trade. And then, if you want, you can come and get the rest of my army maybe the turn after. But if not, I'll get to trade off in against you. So you could put in the pigs there, for instance. You could put the pigs in. But what if you have to trade all the pigs? Because then all the cockatrices can then go and hit the pigs. So that trade game is super fun. It's pretty much how, there's pretty much two ways of playing, effectively, the Age Sigmar objective game. You trade off units. Eels obviously do that game super, super well. You effectively MSU, or you just go ham. Hard-ass motherfuckers. Yeah, straight in, yeah, and you punch. All the lists are available if you type !lists in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Set that up this morning for you. That's it. James, what do you normally trade with? It's either this for me, or it's Warhammer stocks. I tend to buy units when they're not very good and sell them when they're super strong and sold out of production. What about you?
I'd like to say I do that, but I'm still sat on 1 million Marauders, and they're probably only getting worse.
They're only getting worse, James. Now is the time to sell those 120 Marauders. If not
40,
yesterday.
140.
140.
I'm not even sure where they are.
Thanks for subscribing. Big love to you. So there's this unit of Gore out here. James, I know you're a Beast of Chaos fan. How do you feel about the kind of the levels of Gore? Because obviously you've got the Ungor Raiders, the lowest of the Gore. Then you've got the regular Gore, and then the Best of Gore, which there aren't any on the board. And we've now got the new Slangor coming out as well. How do you feel about that?
Those Slangor are very pretty. They're still not the Best Gore. It's not in their name, so they can't be.
They can't be.
But and it's interesting, isn't it? Because once upon a time, Bestigor were the best Gore model, and then they keep bringing out more Gore models. So I think realistically, what they should address in that winter FAQ is just make Bestigor great again. Might get that hat for the year, make Bestigor great again, and just be make them 6 wounds each. Don't change their points. Don't change their war scroll. 6 wounds each.
6 wounds per Bestigor. Yeah. I'm into that.
Because I've also got 90 of those, so that would be great.
Can we talk about this here? This is not a bad terrain piece. If you talk about all the terrain pieces that exist in Age of Sigmar, the Chaos Stone is here. Look at this. The monument. The Herdstone, yeah. The monument to all chaos, which Be'lakor is sat next to at the moment, is actually pretty good. Not this game because it's a game of memes, but the Herdstone is hilarious because. Go on.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think having played with it, the Herdstone is probably the best faction, the best, in my opinion at least, the best written and in-game faction terrain in all of Sigmar. And I'm not saying that, it's the strongest terrain, but I think it's the best written and the most interactive for both parties.
Yes, that makes sense. Oh, look at this. An unsolicited cock right up in the middle there.
Right, straight up the middle.
Straight up the middle. 2 unsolicited. Morning, Jarkator. I hope you're well. So there we go. So they potentially, I don't know about the range. Yeah, they can do some mortal wounds. They've got the range here. So it's interesting whether or not Adam is going to clump them or he's not. He's going to do what we're seeing here, which is he's going to spread them out. That makes sense. Spreading them out means that they can't all get nuked by a double turn accidentally going against him because, as you know, the turn was given away to him. So the Iron Jaw's looking for a double turn there. And there's so much output from this Iron Jaws army. That Mega Boss and Maw Crusher with the War Chanter is terrifying. To be honest, I wouldn't even use the War Chanter on the Mega Boss and Maw Crusher, James. It's probably very inefficient and is done rarely by Iron Jaws players. They'll normally put it on an Ardboy unit or the Pigs. Pigs are the most efficient to put them on because they have 2 attack profiles and you're giving both of them +1 damage. They're hyper efficient to do on Pigs, which is why you see 6 Pigs in every list, because there's hyper efficiency there. And then the Ardboys, same thing really. Well, not same thing. You only really get half that kind of bonus for doubling up. So they the War Chanter, in case just in case you don't know, they add +1 damage. And that's what they're going to do. So they add +1 damage to this unit here, +1 damage to all the attacks on the Pigs. So you end up in a very strong position. And that is the end of Beasts of Chaos turn 1. They've done pretty well. They've scored 5 points. And now we're here to see what the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher can do.
I can't believe that Bellacor's come so far forward.
Okay, so Be'lakor, Twitch chat, we know a secret. I'm pretty certain that they can't hear us. We won't mention it right now. I'll draw on the screen for everyone at home, which unit has been Be'lakored. So right here for you guys, that unit right there, Be'lakored. So you can see that for you guys at home. Whew, a lot going on there. James, what do you think he's going to do this turn? What do you think he's going to do?
I mean, he's a destruction player, right? So he has to just charge forward. That's how that works.
That's how it works. But like, what's he going to charge with? And where?
It's interesting, actually, isn't it? So if you look at Adam's movement, so on like, if you're coming from behind the Iron Jaws, the left flank, if he wants to take that objective, he's going to have to charge the Gore and the Ungore, but actually all the cockatrices are then sat behind. So I guess realistically what he's looking to do is make him fight that those middle objectives, and then hopefully if he wins the next turn he's just going to destroy everything that's come forward, isn't he, with all those cockatrices that are sat behind.
That's the plan, but the double turn could put this army in a very tough position. Look.
Yeah, getting double turned here is going to be a painful experience for those Beasts of Chaos.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. Like, how are they going to potentially take that? Which is why you've seen this double screenage here that you oftentimes see from players of note. Whether or not Adam's done it particularly well, obviously it's TTS, so it's hard to get that perfect micromanagement available. But as you can see, he's blocked this line here, So pretty much the Iron Jaws are only going to be able to hit here. Now, if you notice, he's also protected. Let's just go more top down, which is always my preferred view. You can see that there's nowhere for any units to drop down with the great big green Hand of Gore, which that weird boy's got. So being able to teleport, he's zoned that out as well. So Adam giving us loads of opportunities to teach and learn on the stream today. Thank you very much, Adam. We're learning trading. We're learning zoning. This is zoning available here. So you cannot drop some guys anywhere around here because of teleports. And then that means that you're safe. So you know that pretty much everything is going to hit you forward. So the Weird Knob, though, has still tried to cast and has successfully cast the great big green Hand of Gork. Which I don't know if you know the difference, James. Iron Jaws have the great big green Hand of Gork, and the Gits have just got the Hand of Gork, which is just unfortunate.
And both are a teleport 9 inches away.
Pardon me?
Both are a teleport 9 inches away, right?
Teleport 9 inches away. Very, very rare nowadays to find any teleports that within that 9-inch distance. I think probably the most prevalent in the game at the moment, in the meta, obviously, is that Verminlord Deceiver. Pretty famous, pretty scary, and you often see the Verminlord teleported in so then he can try and cast the Warp Lightning Vortex in the
He
bubble.
is a deceiver, though.
He is. He's sneaky.
Oh.
Right, so...
Oink, oink.
The pigs. Okay, so that's clever here. So there's going to be a natural, because they're Iron Jaws, there's a natural +1 to the charge available for these units. So they only have to roll an 8. So as you can see, he's looking to clear these screens out with an early bird charge, and that would be massive. If he can clear this out, it gives him all of this meat is available for dinner. That's what those pigs want. They want
What's on the menu, boys?
They want to eat it up. So on the stream, oh no, not yet. I'll do that in a second. You continue, James. Sorry, I've messed this up.
Oh, but I was just doing quotes. I mean, so I mean, he's going to deploy these away, isn't he? And what he's going to try and do is use those pigs to clear out all those 2 screens, so he can take. I guess he's going to push a flank, right?
Yeah,
that's the sensible option, because he also then minimises the damage. Now these cockatrices are split 2 ways across the board.
It's true. That's very true. That's very true. We just there's lots of units he's going for, or lots of units available to him. To be honest, James, but pushing on one flank and taking those out is going to be big.
It's also so pretty much everything in this Iron Jaws army has rend, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
So pretty much everything in that Beast of Chaos army has no save.
Almost none. Almost none. Right, so in the chat I have put a link to a poll on who you think might win, Iron Jaws or Beasts of Chaos. So if you're on Twitch, so if you're on those watching on Twitch right now, you should be able to vote in that poll and let me know who you think is going to take the game out. I'd be very interested to hear who you think has got it. James, do you want to do an early bird prediction before we see this 8-inch charge potentially rolled?
I think at the minute, I think it'll be really interesting. I think the game comes in the turn, but I'm going to go Iron Jaws, double turn, no Beast of Chaos left.
Wow. Okay, big claims. Big claims. I mean, Adam set himself up. See, that 22-inch threat range on the cockatrices isn't massive. Like, you have to get in danger close range. You know, this is where you radio in back to artillery and they're like, you're too close. They're like, bring in the rain. So you're very, very close right now. They're all in a major threat here. Because, and that's one of the things I really love about that Age of Sigmar priority roll mechanic, is it does mean, so he's repositioning the Gore Grunters so he can use Mighty Destroyers on them. So that is a hero phase movement, basically, James. So he's moved them 10 away, as you can see here, and then he's going to Mighty Destroyers them, which will give them a hero phase movement, and then that'll get them closer for that charge. That's what we're looking at right now. But he has to be outside. He has to be outside he has to be outside of 12 inches. Otherwise, he has to declare a charge with Mighty Destroyers.
Right.
That's what the rule is. Mighty Destroyers either move in the hero phase, or if you're within 12, declare a charge, which is quite cool. Because then you could do some fighting. And who doesn't love fighting if you're a big old Iron Jaws?
That's all Iron Jaws love, right?
That's all they love.
It's all they want to do.
Yeah. Right, so the other units that we've seen here, there's the War Chanter is on the board. He has buffed up those pigs like we talked about, and he's buffed up the unit of Uruk Ardboys there. And the other, I mean, even this unit of Ardboys here, they should just be able to go take out those raiders. Shouldn't be much of a problem for them. We've also seen Be'lakor womp up the field as well.
Yeah.
Now, we know that Be'lakor being in play is really important because we know this unit has been Be'lakored. So, are they going to be able to move and fight and charge? Which Be'lakor is going to stop them. They have to roll a 5 up to be able to do so. So actually, I think when we have we seen Be'lakor activate his ability yet? That's the question.
Well, as of yet, the unit he's on haven't done anything, have they? They've been everything that's been done to them is separate.
Yes, well, they've also not elected to do it this turn.
Okay.
So it's not been elected to happen right now. So
that's interesting. I almost feel like you'd have just used that first thing.
Oh, really?
Well, I just think, like, I guess maybe it stops the double turn if it happens. Maybe it's a defensive play. But I just think, for me, like, at the minute, that's going to hurt. And a
Yes,
good charge roll on that puts him into all of those cockatrices on the back line.
it does. I think there's some. I think. Well, let's have a look at this, shall we? Loads of opportunities here. I'm not sure if I can. If I'm honest with you, that's the fun bit about watching the games, James. Anything could happen.
Also, I like it when basically your whole army has 3 sticks put on them. Turn 1, you're like, oh, where am I charging? Anywhere. I'll just let me get 3s out.
Straight in is where I'm charging. I think.
But it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think, like, if we go back to probably, I don't know, was it the beginning of this year, maybe pre-COVID? Like, Iron Jaws were in such a
Sorry, do you mean yesterday or last year?
Last year.
Right, perfect.
Forgot where I was. Iron Jaws were in a really strong place, right? And we've watched them kind of slowly drop off as the years gone on. So I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because of obviously of the way that Owen's running this event. It is interesting to see kind of this list make a resurgence, I guess.
I don't think they've ever dropped off. Ultimately, they're just very, very strong. And actually, one of the really cool ways that the Iron Jaws defeat some of the major problems in the game is they can put a lot of wounds on the board, and by the problems we're talking about a lot of the prevalent like top tier armies, so your Seraphon or Lumineth. So you can put a lot of wounds on the board, and they've got like a comparable armor save. So you really want to try and flood the game. They've also got like a very like defensible kind of like main big character, which I think is important as well. However, that doesn't really matter at this event because it being the Fat Middle event, which is what we're here today, the Fat Middle event has got most of the top armies banned off. So Lumineth Realm Lords, Seraphon, Idoneth Deepkin, Nurgle, and Fireslayers are all banned from playing at the event. Now that obviously doesn't...
Oh, did I lose you there?
Okay, so yeah, so that's... no. Sorry, babe. So yeah, none of those are here. So it's just loads of the mid-tier armies just punching each other's faces in, seeing who's the best and who...
So it's mostly mid-tier armies, and then Beast of Chaos and Sylvaneth.
There's also a Nighthorn army and a Legion of Asgore army playing as well, which makes me happy. I
would take Nighthorn over Beast of Chaos or Sylvaneth any day.
Yeah.
because all I do is roll 10 every time I charged.
Perfect. That's what you need to do, right?
Yeah.
There is 2 OC armies playing. There is a very cool list with 12 Immortis Guard. There's another great list with with a Staliart Lords and a Gash list, which is the if I had some money in my back pocket right now, I'd go into the store or on a local gaming store, insert into basket, and that would be my first pickup as an army if I was to do that today. What a brilliant army. So they're playing as well. There's a single Sylvaneth, there's a single Nighthorn, single Legion of Asgore. But the most popular army at the event is Cities of Sigmar. There are 6 Cities of Sigmar's army. There's 1 Hammerhall, there are 3 Halahar, and there are 2 two Living City lists. No Tempest Star lists, which is actually really interesting that there are no Tempest Star lists, because they're normally the more popular Cities of Sigmar armies, because they're very, very strong. That first turn, +1 save, so they can ignore alphas, are very, very important. And then, of course, their ability to run and shoot mean they play super well into things like Dispossess, so Iron Breakers, and specifically for the run and shoot, those Iron Drakes are really strong as well.
Scary boys.
So there are 4 Slaves to Darkness armies here. There's 2 Knights of the Empty Thrones list, which is nice to see everyone copying on for me from later. Hello to Dan and Supervisor in the chat, who will be, because of time zones, joining us for Game 3 later on in the day for the coverage. So big shout out to him. And so there's 2 Knights of the Empty Throne list, which is like the cool way to run Slaves to Darkness now, James. It's like the cool guy play. And then, of course...
You mean you don't use all the Gaunt Summoners?
Not anymore. Not anymore. He's using Varangard. And then there is also a... Benjamin Savard is running his patented, or his famous, at this stage, Bravery Bomb list. So he has got a Chaos list, but it's got 6 Crypt Flayers in, James, as mercenaries. But the list is able to take enemy armies down to Bravery -10, which is obviously brilliant for the screams that you can get on those Crypt Flayers. So fascinating to see a Chaos army with some death units in it as well. So if he wins his first game, that might be one of the games we go check on later. But there's just some really, really interesting lists. The Skaven guys, there's a guy out there, James, I thought you'd be excited about this, with 4 Hell Pit Abominations.
Excellent. Them big boys.
Yeah, 4 of those. 4 of those. There's a double Foul Congregation list. So all the Plague Monks and the Plague Furnace in there as well. So some very cool Skaven lists, as well as Cole, who we talked about on the show previously with Owen. There's his kind of like mixed classic Skaven list at this stage. There's some little changes in there, but if anything's got 40 Plague Monks and 6 Storm Fiends, I'd pretty much consider it to be the classic mixed Skaven list. To be honest.
I think at least Plague Monks are more bearable to watch be played now. They don't have to roll 50 dice with maths problems thrown in the middle. I literally hated them.
So if you guys have just joined us, we're into turn 2, and we're into the charge phase for the Iron Jaws right now. This is a game of ham versus sausage. This is what we're playing. There's a load of pigs here versus a bunch of cockatrices, which is a Beast of Chaos unit, which accidentally they made too cheap, and you can make a meme army out of. Oh, the Maw Crusher is charging first. James, you know the Maw Crusher is so big, so bulky, that when he charges in, he does mortal wounds on the charge.
Probably enough to bring a cockatrice down as well.
Not enough. Well, unless he rolls 8 4-ups.
Easy.
And then also, there's also the Ungor Raiders could potentially take some mortal wounds from this unit as well here. They could get punched in. But what he might be looking to do here is hit into the Ungor Raiders with the mortal wounds, clear them off, pile round 3 inches. And you never know. You never know. If he's got the opportunity, he might take a couple of swings at Be'lakor. Taking Be'lakor out isn't going to affect Be'lakor's ability, because Be'lakor's ability is now just active. Be'lakor only has to be on the board once to activate Be'lakor's ability. So even if Be'lakor dies, you can still use Be'lakor's ability on a unit, which is fun. Yeah,
it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I guess he's a demon, so he's only got to show face to activate his power.
He's only got to show his face. That's it.
And he's such a diddy little demon.
Be'lakor is. No one look at him. There's no way. He was like, I'm going to be I'm going to take over everything. That's what Be'lakor's backstory is. He was like, I'm going to be the king, and then no one cared. Literally, no one cared. And so now he just goes around the mortal he just negs people, James. That's all he does. Yeah, he's like a pickup artist that negs people. Is Be'lakor? That's what he does. He needs to stop it. So big charge in from the Maw Crusher there. Smashed over into those Ungor Raiders. The pigs are going in. The pigs haven't made the charge yet, though, but we have seen the Ardboy unit charge, and this other Ardboy unit charge. So there's another cockatrice taken out here. So I do feel like these 2 cockatrices potentially were bait, James.
Yeah, I mean, he still have 12 left, right? So
he does have, if he loses 2, he still will have 12.
So you're then looking at plenty of mortal wounds still.
But it's also not a lot of bodies on the board. Like, he doesn't have a lot. He's currently going to be losing. And as much as 12 d6 mortal wounds is great, it's not really, because it's on a 4-up. So it's going to be 66 mortal wounds, which isn't brilliant. That's, on average, that's not going to be great. What is that, 12? 24? 24 mortal wounds, which the most it will do is take out, it won't even kill the pigs. And the pigs is 30 wounds of ham and anger. Yeah?
But when he rolls 12 6-ups and then followed by 12 6-ups, whew!
Oh my! And he just rolls 6s. That's all
I
he's
feel
got
like
to
it's
do.
one of those days. It's one of those it's one of those lists where you're just like, this will be average, but on the day that I just roll 6s, I'm gonna have a great day.
That's always the best day. So massive
Ooh.
charge from the Gore Grunters. They've gone 12 inches. Look at this. Huge
that's
charge. And that is really important because their attack profile, just one Gore Grunter can pretty much take out a cockatrice there. I don't think Adam was expecting to be able to feel the burn that deep down his cockatrice list. And so we... yeah, that's just devastating. Because that's another one of those mortal wound bombs lost here. This could be all over very quickly, James.
Yeah, I mean, I think basically this whole game at this point is just going to ride on a double turn, isn't it? I think if the Iron Jaws get a double turn,
it's all over.
Yeah, I can't imagine there's much left.
It's all over. It's all over.
Maybe,
Thank you.
Maybe 4 mortal wound bombs.
Just trying really hard.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so Be'lakor's still there, though. Don't forget Be'lakor. We do have some summoning as well, as you can see here. The classic, unfortunate... so Grashek's is here, and he's got his unit of Grashek's Raiders. Now, they're kind of a hot pick at the minute, because Grashek's able to pile the Grashek's Raiders into the Herdstone.
Right. Just shovel them in.
Okay, so we've just seen another charge here, and another 11-inch charge. Another 11-inch charge here. Not bad, not doing bad. James, you were saying something about you roll 6s and you smash it.
Yeah. There's plenty coming out. See?
There is. There is.
I think, yeah. I mean, is that another cockatrice tied up? It is, isn't it?
It is another cockatrice tied up. I mean, that's not bad, because he can still do a shooting attack into close combat. But it's whether or not that is going to then die. And as you can see, the War Chanter here, so this is a buffed up unit of Ardboys. So that is another cockatrice dead. So I think Adam lost 2 cockatrices where he wasn't expecting to lose any.
Yeah.
Effectively. And also really, really good play here from the Iron Jaws in teleporting and moving this unit of pigs. I think Adam would have thought that they were previously here and we thought they would have come central. But instead, they teleported over onto the flank, then used to be able to Mighty Destroyers down, and they got somewhere else. So there was a real strong play from the Iron Jaws in that situation. Maybe he could have just dropped them back. Ultimately, he didn't need to have this unit quite so close and could have defended. But maybe he didn't want the Maw Crusher to bunny hop over and move into these units. So there was loads of issues, if you let's call it that. Initially with the setup, and then just some amazing charges.
Oh, and then I'm guessing we're doing the mortal wounds from the Maw Crusher.
Yeah. Someone in the chat, Cartor TV just asked, Rob, where the hell is my December FAQ? I don't write it.
And there goes the cockatrice.
Oh, from Crushing Bulk?
Yeah, I think so.
That's outrageous.
What
did he roll?
A lot.
Wow. Oh.
So is it D3 mortal wounds for every 4 up?
Oh, no. Sorry, he's activated. And he's just attacked. So that would make loads of sense. That makes it look. There's no way Special Bolt would do that. So.
Oh, that's a sad day. I like the idea that Maw Crusher just like trampled to death a cockatrice.
Okay, yeah. So the cockatrice is no more, and I think he will have elected to put some other attacks into the Ungor Raids as well, which is what we're seeing rolled out here. Yeah, every bloke in the chat just winced. We all feel for Adam in this situation. Also, this is the only time we can probably cover this list, because we can't cover this on the TSN, because we've said the word cocks so many times in this stream. Morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Now, can we talk about
8 a.m. on a Saturday?
Do you know what I mean? It's not even breakfast time yet. How dare we? Can we talk about the power of these mega bosses on Maw Crusher, James, when they're unwounded? I mean, even when they're wounded a bit, but like, I mean, they're very expensive. You know, they're 400 and something points, but they are terrifying, like terrifying. Ultimately, there's so much output coming from those guys. But it's interesting to see how people play them. Some people build them really tanky and don't necessarily even use them for the raw output. And instead, they build them defensive so that they can pin stuff in, because it's easily the fastest unit in the game for the Iron Jaws. However, some people, Nathan Prescott style people, just buff them up so that they are only output all the time. Raw, manly, meaty damage. And that's the other version that we see as well. Ultimately, that's not the version that does very well of the two. Thank you. But there's still play in that, and there's something you really need to respect, because if you don't set up screens well, if you don't have anything that can like stop something so terrifying early doors, and it can fly but I think one of the big problems is it's got a massive base. So even though you can fly and get it to bunny hop over areas, it still needs some love.
Yeah, I think there's that interesting part, isn't there, to the game where there's some great monster models that can churn out a lot of damage, but the size of the base on most of them makes them easier to screen out.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them more complex to use, doesn't it? And I think what Adam was hoping to do was screen out that more Crusher with the way he deployed. Unfortunately, like, that big charge just meant, although he couldn't bunny hop, he's just minced out the 2 units that were in front of him.
It's true. Yeah. Okay, so we're also seeing the amazing allegiance ability that the Iron Jaws also have in play here, James. So we have smashing and bashing, and that's where multi-charge is so good for this Iron Jaws army. So because of the death of the cockatrice, he's able to activate smashing and bashing, which means he immediately gets to activate again. Now, it's not really much of a drama, because there's nothing in combat right now with the Iron Jaws army that's going to really even scratch it. However, it does just mean he's going to be able to just clear so many different units. So, there's so many engagements, because ultimately this unit of pigs with +1 damage, they are going to absolutely smash those gore off the board, and probably also the cockatrice, which means he gets to activate with this unit of Ardboys, or this unit of Ardboys, which then probably will take out this unit of gore and this cockatrice, and then then they can activate here. So in this first turn, we might have lost 2 units of Ungor Raiders, 2 units of gore, and over 4 cockatrices.
Oh,
barely 10 cockatrices left. Barely 10, James.
It's worrying if you're a cockatrice.
They've gone from this is pest control. There you go. This is pest control. That's how I see it. Either that, or we need to start putting cockatrices on the endangered species list, because they're not long for this world. They're kind of like really aggressive pandas, James, and they need protecting.
I like the idea of a really aggressive panda. Too lazy to have sex, but happy to fight.
Like the cockatrices. That's what they are.
Oh no, it's a gore.
Aggressive pandas. So yeah, we have seen the pigs activate. They've wiped that unit of gore out. Can two pigs... Yeah, can 2 pigs take out a cockatrice with +1 damage? Now they should. 3 attacks each on the orcs on top. So that's 6 attacks. 3s and 3s. 3s and 3s. Round 1. 2 damage, James, because of that amazing buff. And then the pigs have got 4 attacks each. Because they charged, they're going to get +1 to hit. So 3s and 3s. They don't have any rend, because pigs don't. But that'll be 2 damage for those guys as well. So overall, you end up with 8 attacks that do 2 damage with no rend, and 6 attacks with 2 damage that do no rend, all from 2 pigs. It's pretty brilliant.
Nuts.
It's pretty brilliant. Yeah, it's the most aggressive sausage roll you've ever seen, basically. Yeah.
There's such a great unit in that army too, because they just add so much speed, don't they?
Yeah. They're 6 pigs in an army. Make loads of sense. Also, just a wicked wound sink as well. It's 30 wounds with a 4-up save. If you get them in Iron Jaws, like if you put them in Big War, they can end up with a 6-up DPR as well. You can get them on 2s and 2s, so you can absolutely like smash. So they do the work basically. And then where's he going to bring all these cockatrices to bear, James? So like, look at these 4 cockatrices here. If Adam gets the turn, all 4 cockatrices could do 4d6 mortal wounds into these. Well, not all of them. Each one individually 1d6, so 4 in total. But he's probably not. He's probably only going to get 2 off. So he's probably going to just do 7 mortal wounds to the Gorgrunners, which isn't a lot.
Yeah, maybe. Is that 2? Are they 3 wounds each?
They're 5 wounds each.
Oh dear.
30 wounds. 30 wounds. However, he could pin them in. Now, this unit doesn't fly. So what you might see Adam do is he might take the single cockatrice and he just might move it within engagement range, basically. So that unit of pigs has to kind of circle round if it wants to get anywhere, basically. He can't fight it because even a single pig will probably kill the cockatrice. So you can't pin him in that situation. And he's also leaving all those objectives unmanned. There's a lot going on there, James. There's a lot going on. And there's a lot of pressure early doors.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Like, pretty much every Iron Jaws list just wants to pressure you from turn 1, doesn't it? Like the battle plans where they can't just get stuck in turn 1 is where they really struggle.
Who, Iron Jaws?
Yeah.
Yeah. They really suffered to Iron Jaws really suffered to board control in a big way. Not like this. Adam's gone very light on units to protect, as we're seeing here. So yeah, they're super fragile ultimately. However, they don't have much board space. But what the Iron Jaws really do suffer against is when you can block them up, you can pin them, you can shut down their units. Minuses to hit aren't terrible, really, because they've got a lot of attacks with that damage too. If you're able to take out the War Chanters early, oh dear me, is that a strong way to deal with the Iron Jaws? So yeah, like we're being asked in the chat what the plural of cockatrice is and whether or not it's cockatry. I'm not sure.
No, that's just 3.
That's just 3.
Cockalotl.
This is a good early morning game. This is a good early morning game to get the juices rolling for everyone. There's a really fun list. I would like to get the Sinesh list on later, but that's going to be very intense. A lot happening in that list and going off on the tabletop, so it'll be fun to see. I think for everyone. Ultimately, James, the poll is in. We've given the results of the poll. We were asked in the chat who we thought was going to win. The chat thought it was going to be Beasts of Chaos. Mainly Jog PLC and the Big Goldfish into that. Those are the ones who thought it was going to kick off. Big shout out to Big Goldfish, love you. But is that going to be the case? Oh, so we oh no, that's not. So we've seen some more smashing and bashing. So we have lost another cockatrice here. We have 4 Ungors died here to this unit of Ard boys. James really does show you how rubbish they are as soon as they don't have +1 damage.
Yeah, I mean Ungors are terrible too.
Ungor Raiders, I'll have you know, are terrifying. Dear. Yeah, if you take them in blocks of 40, you take 200 of them, you'll have the most aggressive first turn that you'll ever see in your life.
Doing 4 damage.
But you'll roll a lot of dice. You'll really feel like you've done something.
You'll feel like you've done something till you watch your opponent remove if 1 model.
It's kind of like a workout regime. You sit sedentary for 4 to 6 months painting 200 Ungor Raiders. And then you just cultivate mass. And then over the next 6 months you just work out by rolling that many dice every battle round. People will think you're like the strongest man in the world. Your arms will be huge from rolling hundreds of bow shots from the Ungor Raiders.
Did that cockatrice just do all its attack and do 1 damage?
It did. Cockatrice is not very outputty in close combat. So it did 2 damage, actually, James. I'll have you know.
Okay.
2 damage. But it's only got a vicious beak that they could do quite well. 2 attacks each, 4s and 3s, rend 1 d3 damage. Or there's sword-like talons, so they're 4 attacks, 4s and 4s, no rend and 1 damage. So potentially they could do quite a bit.
But they didn't.
So yeah.
Adam, obviously not listening to my advice of just roll 6s.
Agreed. Agreed. He's not listening to that at all. However, the priority roll coming up is going to be pretty important here, James. It could be anyone's game.
I think it'd be really interesting, realistically, as much as I think like Iron Jaw's getting it is probably like a game, like it is the game, in my opinion. It'd be really interesting to see Adam take the priority role just to see how much damage these cockatrices do. I know we've lost a few, but I think it'd still be really interesting to see like the damage output and what difference it can make to the board. Because it's realistically, I know we've said that this army exists twice in real life.
It does.
But there's probably a very slim chance anyone is ever going to see it ever in real life.
Actually, on the tabletop, yes. Yeah.
I think...
Go on.
Well, I think almost... at this point, I think if Iron Jaws get the turn, this army's been tabled pretty much on turn 2 before it's had a second turn. And I think in like, if you're going to build, paint, and pack an army, take it to an event, and then finish most of your games before you've had a second turn, you're not going to do it.
I think what's fun about the army, much like the Iron Jaws army, is it's just a fun army. Like we've seen at this Fat Middle event, there's a bunch of just fun stuff. And a great opportunity for you to do a bunch of conversions. A cockatrice. Let's find the narrative of the cockatrice and explore that as a community together, because that sounds fun. The piercing glare turns victims to stone while their savage talons shred flesh. I don't know what the narrative is for a cockatrice. Is it half?
Cockatrices turn people to stone, don't they? So all my cockatrice lore is from very old Final Fantasy games, if I'm absolutely honest. Where it actually just looked like a chicken. Here we go. I have some narrative if you'd like some, just on cockatrices as the whole.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. So, interesting little fact over here. This unit of hard boys with +1 damage did not kill... Oh, wait, is it that unit? Or no, it's not. Sorry, not that unit. This unit of hard boys in the center, 15 hard boys that we have here. So another 30 wounds pool sink. Were unable to kill this cockatrice. Is there 2 units of hard boys in this army here? There's 2.
Yeah, there's 2.
Okay.
2 units in there.
Right, so there's a 15. Oh, okay. So there's a 15 here, and there's a unit of 10 here. But I don't think the 10 can hit into this cockatrice. So just these 15. Okay, but then how did the cockatrice get wounded? So no one else. So the cockatrice is alive. The cockatrice is alive and able to still fight here, which is fun. So that's good, James. We've got a cockatrice available. And look at that. Look at that glare at that weird boy, or the war chanter even. Yeah. Oh,
just
yeah,
angry at
baby.
him.
Yeah. He's not in range, unfortunately, because it's only 10 inches. But so close. So close to be able to gaze at him. However, unfortunately, with +1 damage from the war chanter, I think, onto this unit of hard boys here, it is very unlikely this cockatrice is long to live. And then these gore also could potentially die as well. There's a lot of threats. Because these...
Oh, he's dead.
So the cockatrice has been lifted. He is gone. He is out of the game. No longer to threaten the mortal realms. So far, we've lost 3 of our noble 14. They are slowly ramping up that endangered species list, James.
Soon there'll be none left.
There will be none left. Hold on. So I'm just going to tell you the lore. Thank you to our lore master, Mr. Colonel Cabbage, for the cockatrices here. So scores of stone statues dot the desolate wastes, James, eroded by time and the corrosions of chaos energy. Some are missing limbs or are bisected at the torso, and those that still have heads were expression of pure terror. In such a landscape, a cockatrice's lair is sure to be found. Compared to other beasts of chaos, cockatrices are extremely reclusive, emerging from their solitary hollows only when their desire for fresh meat grows strong. They then take wing in search of new prey, following the trail of destruction left by the beast herds into civilized lands.
So what we're saying is they're solitary. Adam didn't read the lore and brought 14.
They're not liking this. But they haven't said what they're made from.
It's a rooster's head.
What, the head of a rooster?
So it is essentially a two-legged dragon or serpent-like creature with a rooster's head.
Okay.
And my favourite thing is, I didn't realise, so they're originally
it's a dragon with a chicken on.
Yeah. From English lore. I mean, couldn't get more English, could you? You're like, we got a dragon, that's Welsh. How do we make that more English? Stick a rooster on it. And then you're like, oh, okay, so we've got a dragon, breathes fire, dangerous, powerful, and we've got a rooster. Which head do we give it? Pecks things. Which head should we give it? Give it the rooster one. That looks scary.
Oh dear. This is not the scariest of creatures as what I was expecting.
Just turn you to stone, though.
They do turn you to stone. I guess that's pretty scary.
I mean,
ultimately.
You probably don't really want to be stoned, do you?
I don't know. I'd be a cracking way to be a gorgeous statue. You know.
Do you want a really random fact?
Please.
So I've been just skimming the lore of a cockatrice. So apparently there is one animal that is immune to a cockatrice. Do you want to just have a guess what that animal might be?
What is it?
It's a weasel.
Weasels are immune to cockatrice's powers.
So what we actually need is a weasel army. I know you want a squirrel army, but maybe what we need is weasels. And then they're built into all their war scrolls could just be immune to cockatrice.
I 100% want there to be a weasel faction now in Sigmar. Little things about battle shocks that we're seeing here. A lot going on, mainly because everything's dead. However, I don't know if you've noticed. Oh no! So let's talk about this. As you can see here, there's this single Ungor Raider. All 9 of his bros are dead. However, the Ungor Raider being alive is quite important and passing his battle shock test. But he's no way he's going to be able to do it, James. His bravery's too low. He'll never do it.
I think his command pointed it. He's lost a command point.
I know. I was building it up for the audience team.
Oh, sorry.
It's called crafting a narrative. It's what I'm doing with my voice. It's kind of the show. Yes, as pointed, he's command pointed it so that this single Ungor Raider has locked in this Mega Boss or Maw Crusher, keeping him from doing any damage. There's some other important things to point out as well, because the priority role has been won by the Iron Jaws. However, is that super scary? Well, let's break this down a little bit, because Be'lakor has just activated its ability, let's get that right, on the pigs. So this is the situation right now. The Mega Boss and Maw Crusher could be locked in combat, but it isn't, because he's just going to spend a command point and then he's just going to punch him in the hero phase, but that's not a problem. The War Chanter is out of range to buff anyone, so he's not going to be able to buff the damage. The other War Chanter is out of range and isn't going to be able to buff anyone because he's out of range. So these 6 pigs are nowhere near as scary as they once were. So there's that as well. So you might have the pigs out of the fight, the Maw Crusher potentially out of the fight, this unit of boys locked up over here, and then this unit of 15 hard boys who are going to be able to still do great work, not going in. Now, I still think 6 unbuffed pigs will be able to kill 2 cockatrices, but it might not be as devastating as we thought, James, basically.
I mean, it's still not looking hopeful, is it? I think cockatrice might be on the menu for dinner.
Yeah, it's not. Look, I'm not saying it's all going Adam's way, but it's also not. It's not. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good for the cockatrices. Let's put it that way. So let's just get a quick score update from our table boss. I'm pretty certain it's 5-3. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty certain that was correct. So happy with that. Good. So 5-3. So really, I guess our question is, James. Also, one of the things that we might not have thought about is we know that the Ironjaws they traipse around the realm of Gur quite a lot. They're generally hunting, and they like to murder a lot of, well, basically anything that they can find. And I think one of the things that we might not have predicted is they might have collected a lot of furs and are wearing them all over. We know that the Mega Boss and Maw-Crusher, he's rocking some cool fur cape, the War Chanter and the Weird Knob. So we don't know if there's not like a couple of like ferret or stoat pelts actually kept on top of the Ard Boys, if they're not running around with some kind of like lucky weasel tails in their armor to keep them safe, basically.
I like the concept that someone chose that animal to be immune.
The weasel.
Yeah, like of all the animals you could choose that probably would kill a rooster or a dragon, and you're like, oh no, we'll have a weasel. That's scary.
It's pretty scary. Yeah, so I do know about the Mr. T. Thank you very much. Obviously, we could see the War Chant get teleported from Great Big Green Hand of Gork, but it is not. Instead, it's teleporting the unit of 10 Ard Boys is what we're seeing teleported, and not the Big Brick of 15. So those War Chanter buffs will be out. He probably doesn't have to worry too much. Yeah. So he doesn't really have to worry too much about the extra damage, I think, because the fragility of the Beast of Chaos book is pretty hilarious, ultimately. They're very, very fragile, all of these guys, the cockatrices, but they're quite well protected. Adam might only lose this one cockatrice here and these two, so he might still be left with two. He might still be left with maybe 8 cockatrices left at the end of this round. But it's all to play for, James. Got any thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's just the fact that the Ironjaws are just going to womp forward in the hero phase, womp forward again, I think is just going to... There's just not going to be a lot left, is there? I mean, he can burn some goats, but I just don't think he has enough to even get enough summoning points at this point.
I don't think he could burn as much as he thought. Also, we're just discovering, thank you to Xenius the Business, that weasels do hunt chickens and snakes. So
there you go.
The one thing I was not expecting on the 2nd of January 2021 was to learn a lot about weasel and chicken lore. However, I'm here for it. I'm very excited by the prospect, ultimately. Now, do you want to see something very cool that's happening here, James?
Yeah.
So this is some fun little mechanics here. So we might be seeing a charge go off from this unit. And what they're going to look to do is they're looking to punch in here. Now, I don't think that this unit of Ard Boys on the right can smash this whole unit of Gore. But if they could, that means you would activate Smashing and Bashing. So what you can see is a charge here into the screen, into the line, right? Then, if the whole unit can be cleared by the unit of Ard Boys here, that means that you can activate this unit that charged, they can pile into the cockatrices, and then they can do the damage into the cockatrices afterwards. So it's some fun little like setting up of like plays and counterplays, effectively, and using those overriding abilities to smash through a screen and charge into the meat behind. It's kind of like an Ironjaws can opener, if you will, looking to get at the sweet chicken goodness that we find. That I already... do you know what? I care a lot less about the cockatrices now I know that they're just chickens.
Does that make them less interesting?
Does anyone else not interest? Like they're nowhere near as scary now.
But it almost makes me want there to be a new model for them, because I'd like an actual chicken head, like with the rooster's little whatever it's called, little Mohican. Like I'd like Games Workshop. Anyone listening? New cockatrice model, silly little head thing, and also it'd be funny because Adam's probably just brought 30.
I mean, it would be very funny to end up with that. Let's be real. Okay. But luckily they have a rooster's head, or they would taste nasty. Apparently, I mean, I'm not sure what dragon even tastes like.
Who does know? That's what I want to know. If anyone knows what dragon tastes like, let us know in the chat.
So unfortunately, Mighty Destroyers has been activated on the Maw Crusher, which mean in the hero phase, which means that single Gore, he was so brave. He was so brave. He saw 9 of his brethren smoked by possibly the angriest boy in all the mortal realms, and he was like,
"Yep,
you know what? I'll stay here. I'll see if you've got any more in your lad."
And he got a sharp stick and everything.
Yeah. So they got smashed, absolutely. And now this Maw Crusher is unrepentantly free to run around. However, the Gore Grunters, don't forget, have been Bellacored, so they may do nothing in the hero phase, the charge phase, and the fight phase. So they've got to roll a 5 up to be able to do anything. So they are maybe safe over here. Maybe safe. They also haven't been buffed by the War Chanter, so there's some real options for those cockatrices to stay alive. Less options for the other cockatrices. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see that Maw Crusher just try and just jump into the back objective, James. Smash them off
just
the
one piece away through. And I guess then actually also what he's trying to do at this point is just score high, isn't it? Because we've watched Adam kind of score high turn 1 to take a lead. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's not got much of an army left to continue that. But it's okay, because if he just rolls 6s all this round, he might be okay. Nothing else, no other numbers.
I'm not sure he's even going to do okay there.
No, man.
That's an
but we'll give him hope.
There's an unwounded Mega Boss there, and he's got some massive attacks. The Mighty Fist and Tail attack is pretty scary. 8 of those coming in from the Mega Boss. So that's from the actual Maw Crusher himself punching. It's actually rumoured that the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher doesn't actually fly. He actually just pushes the Earth down for a small amount of time. The Maw Crusher just punches the Earth down, hops across, and then it comes back. That's how it's generally seen. The other version is that he hops. So it's more like
like a squig.
Very much like a squig. Very much like a squig. He just kind of hops forward in a kind of a short little burst.
Squig dragon.
He basically, he's a squig dragon. There's just anything but dragons on here. Games Workshop trying their hardest not to make dragons a thing. They're like, no, it's not a dragon, it's a chicken dragon. Or a squig dragon.
It's only got little wings. Is it really even a dragon?
Mr. Tiga, what is the Mega Boss's loadout? So if you guys want to see the lists, you can type !lists in the chat. I've done it for you there, and you guys can go see. But I'll let you know what his loadout is right now. Codrin is running this list, and his Mega Boss or Maw Crusher has got the Sun-Blessed Armor, and he is a Weirden. He's a Weirden, so he's going to ignore those spells on a 4-up, which is very cool and definitely needed against the non-spell casting. We have been through this. It's a Wyvern. Yeah, I know. We're just having some fun, Zango Jack. We're just having a laugh. Now, Bellacore could potentially survive. Oh, no. I've been kicked out of the server, James. Dear God.
Oh,
dear God.
Oh, yeah, everyone has.
Okay. Oh, dear. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a small break, and we'll be back as we fix the game. Everyone, tune in soon. Hello, welcome back to round 1 of the Fat Middle TTS event hosted by Owen Jackson. We are live from our Table 7 here. We're live from Table 7 where we are watching an Iron Jaws army made of Iron Suns up against a Beast of Chaos army, which is an All-Herd army. Now, the Iron Suns army isn't particularly different to most Iron Jaws armies that you see before. As you can see, there are 6 Gore Grunters, there's 15 Ard Boys, there's a Mega Boss and War Crusher, a couple of War Chanters and a Weird Knob, up against the unique All-Herd army of 14 Cockatrices and a bunch of Goats. And unfortunately, the Goats are in trouble. Round 1, they pushed up super deep. We saw some Ungor Raiders move up the board. Let me just get that on the overlay. We saw some Ungor Raiders push up the board, take these lines, and we saw some Cockatrices move into the center. But unfortunately, there was some aggressive play from the Iron Jaws. We teleported a unit of Gore Grunters over here. They then Mighty Destroyers down, made it a 12-inch charge, wiping out a unit of Gore and a couple of Cockatrices as well. We lost another Cockatrice here on the right with some other 11-inch charges dropped over here. So we saw some more Gore and Cockatrices go down. Unfortunately, entering onto the endangered species list is the Tricking Dragons. There are only, I think, we lost 3 so far. So there are only 11 left on the board. But going into turn 2, the Iron Jaws have got it. James, are they covered in weasel fur? How are they able to defeat the Beast of Chaos army?
I mean, the 6-up save probably helps on those Cockatrices. The Cockatrices need some armor of their own, I think. Oh dear. That Maw Crusher's having a lovely day out.
He's having, look at, so the Maw Crusher has now charged in, as you can see. And with all of the impact hits going into Be'lakor, which is a good decision because Be'lakor has an unrendable save. So a 4-up save. So Be'lakor could potentially survive a regular fight. Yeah. Oh, and that looks like a lot of mortal wounds. 3 mortal wounds into Be'lakor's. Only 8 wounds on Be'lakor. Pretty certain. So, yeah. That's the state of play right now, James. How are you feeling about it?
I think realistically, I think a lot of this game, I know quite often a game can, but I almost feel like because Iron Jaws is so aggressive, aren't they? Like a lot of it sat in that. A lot of this game sat in that priority role. So for the Iron Jaws to take a double turn, just going to allow them to smash through this army so much that there's nothing left.
I mean, that's likely the situation. However, that's the situation. Our next game, for anyone who's interested in tuning in, is going to be at midday, so 12 p.m. BST time, which is roughly in 2 hours. Is when the next game's going to be. So we have heard that the Iron Jaws, the Gore Grunters have rolled their fight. Be'lakor has affected the Iron Jaws over here, James. The Gore Grunters are unable to move. They need to roll a 5-up to get in, and they failed miserably. So they are locked in, unable to engage in the game. And so those Cockatrices are safe. Unfortunately, Be'lakor might not be long for this world. But they might keep a lot of the Cockatrices alive, James.
That's true. I think it'll be that problem now, isn't it? We talked about it before. Like there's an all right amount of damage output from those Cockatrices. I think one of the issues has to be that there's not a lot of board presence from there, and he's now lost all his multiple man units par 1, I would say, hasn't he? So it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be really interesting to see kind of what he's got left at the end of this turn and how he plays into that. Like where the damage output he chooses to kind of put. I mean, he's probably not going to take that Maw Crusher out, but he also needs to take that Maw Crusher out.
There are just too many threats. He was unable to put any damage into the Iron Jaws army on the first turn and just run up screens. And maybe, like, if we're being serious about this list and how it plays, it's got some great opportunity for MSU potential and the ability to just like sacrifice single cockatrices over time as it degrades. Let's not forget right here, burning in the fire, toasty and warm, is goat pie. There is more and more goats piled onto this pyre as time goes on. They're just slowly cooking. And then what he's able to do is use all of the energy of those cooked goats to summon into the backfield. We could see all sorts of summoning go off. We see some late game backfield threats. Not forgetting these backfield objectives for the goats are worth 4 points here for this objective, as you can see. And then so there's real potential. James, what did you like to summon when you played with your little goats?
I think so. Realistically, most of the time, I think for me, like summoning bodies is always a strength. And I might be slightly off, but I'm pretty sure like 10 Ungor was maybe 8 points. So you can quite quickly kind of knock out 10 Ungor, which helped to allow you to control the board, whereas like the top end of the summons is like a Chimera. We're never going to see that, but we might see him get Tengor on that backboard edge, which would allow him to take that objective. It's just being able to tie up, I think, the rest of that army or wound it enough that those Tengor are kind of free to keep scoring 4 points over and over again. And I think that's the issue he's going to have. I just don't think. I'm not sure there's enough bodies by that fire.
So 10 Ungor is apparently only 3 points.
Oh, okay, 3 points. My bad.
But look at this. He was a failed demon prince, a failure that was unable to take over anything, and now a mighty mega boss or Maw Crusher has made sure to know you are smoked, Be'lakor. Get out of here. That unrenderable save, not protection enough about just the volume of attacks that coming in. Sometimes Be'lakor can do some real good work. Also got a great spell on Be'lakor, that Miasma, but unable to bring in. And that's a key piece that we've seen gone. And this Mega Boss on Maw Crusher, absolutely unfettered right now by... there's no one willing to stop him. I want someone, anyone. Oh, and we saw a cockatrice go as well from the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher.
And I guess is he going to put any attack into those Gore as well?
No,
or
I think that's enough. That's good job from that Mega Boss and Maw Crusher. So now the unit of 15 Ardboys is going to smash and bash. So this is over here. 15 Ardboys smashing and bashing into this unit of cockatrices.
I think it's an interesting one, isn't it? Smashing and bashing, because what you see happen is them having to choose the right units at the right time to make sure they can continually keep smashing and bashing.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good ability. It's so good, and we saw it work so well against the Neshman. The Neshman was at the height of its power, but we did see, the cockatrice here has been lifted, +1 damage onto that unit, so that's another opportunity for smashing and bashing. But he's just running out of units to smash and bash with, ultimately, James. So this unit of Ardboys, or there's another unit of Ardboys here into this unit of Gore. It's pretty rough, but James... Adam's got to be over the moon with what's happened here with the Gore Grunters and the fact that they are safe. They are unperturbed from the damage.
I know kind of turn one we talked about, didn't we? And I kind of said I'd just drop that ability turn one and stop those Gore Grunter doing anything. But actually, I guess what he's actually done this turn is kept that. I mean, it depends what side you're looking at, but if kind of from the Iron Jaws deployment, it keeps that right-hand side of the board kind of alive, doesn't it? So we've got 4 cockatrices back there, whereas kind of we're going to only end up having 3 on that left flank.
Let's just talk about how good Prop Joe's point is in the chat. Strength from victory. This ability on the Mega Boss or War Crusher at the end of the combat phase. If the enemy model was slain by any wounds inflicted by this model's attacks, and we've done that, he's done that twice now. He gets to add +1 attacks to his Boss Chopper and Riptooth, as well as give him +1 wound as well. So he's going to have he's got +2 attacks basically now. The guy on top, and he's on 17 wounds. As opposed to taking wounds, the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher is just going up wounds. He's just growing wounds on top. He's getting bigger,
which is nice when he's taken none. I mean, he's having a great day, right? Like, he's killing things. He's not getting hurt. He's gonna have half snake, half chicken for dinner.
Yeah, he's going. I mean, he is going home, and he's going to tell his weasel overlords that he has smoked some more chickens, and everyone's happy with that. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, the fact that this guy's on 17 wounds now is actually really fun. I really love that a bit. I love that. That's a really good point, Prop Joe. Thank you. 17 wounds on the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher is just wild. And then he's probably... Oh, so this unit of 10 R boys that has charged, they've only killed 6 gore, which is fine. I mean, where are all the cockatrices going to go, though? At this point, James, what would you push everything into? Would you just go for the moral victory and take out the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher? What would be your plan?
Maybe I don't know actually. I think if you're trying to it depends, doesn't it? I mean, he's in a bad place, but I think if you're trying to play this game competitively still, and I think knowing Adam, he can't not play it competitively still. The sensible option has got to be to try and kill those 2 units of 10 hard boys, I would say, and then tie up that Maw Crusher by pinning him in with what cockatrices he has left on that side. Because what he could... I guess it depends, doesn't it? The Mortal Out... How many 4-ups can Adam roll?
Well, he wants to roll them all, doesn't he?
Yeah, because the problem is, isn't it, that the issue with that Mortal Wound roll is, realistically, is that he's got to roll a 4-up and then decent on the damage. So each our boy's 2 wounds.
Yep.
So each one of those squads is 20. I don't even know where he does the damage from.
He just doesn't do enough, I think, is the major problem. So yeah, it's just not enough damage.
So maybe you're right. Maybe you take the moral victory, and
I didn't go for the moral victory.
You just look at that big boy, and you think, like, he's got 17 wounds now. Can I do 17 wounds?
Well, Twitch chat, what would you do? I want to hear from the Twitch chat what they do right now. Moral victory, or would you try and play it out? We are finding out some other stuff that's happened in the tournament. So don't forget, this is one match of a tournament of matches that are going on right now, and that is the first result is in. So over on table 7, there is a 1-drop shoot cast list that was against the Boss Fist, which was a bunch of mega bosses. There's 2 mega bosses on Maw Crushers and 2 mega bosses on foot, and they unfortunately got smoked by a 1-drop shoot cast list, which is tough for those guys. However, James, we're in. The Beast of Chaos can activate. It's their turn 2.
Oh,
they're ready to rock. Are we ready for this? Are we ready to see what they could do?
I think it's nice for them, isn't it, that they got a turn 2? Because I think there was a point there where we thought they might not.
Hey, there is only Joe. Murder the cabbage. It's the only choice. I think murdering the cabbage is the only moral choice now. But whether or not Adam's going to go for that, but this is the thing. Or maybe just take out all the characters would be the other potential option. Just run around, kill the war chanters, the weird knobs. Not for, again, any actual good reason. Just for the moral victory. But it does look like he's eyeballing the Mega Boss on Maw Crusher here. And don't forget, he doesn't have a normal Bray Shaman. He has Grashnak. I think that's how you say it, James.
Yep.
Yeah? Grashnak.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that. I mean, I've never met him in person to know how he pronounces it himself. Mm-hmm. But I think, I feel like that sounds about kind of Beast of Chaosy, doesn't it?
It's true. Now, his spell is not bad. And why you're seeing him is the War Scroll. It's the Underworld's Warband, and he's got Savage Bolt, which is a cast on a 7. The unit suffers D3 mortal wounds, but in addition, until the end of your next combat phase, you add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by melee weapons that target that unit. Now, that doesn't sound great initially, but if you did that on, let's say, a big brick of, let's say, Phoenix Guard or Hearthguard or something like that,
Yep.
that +1 to hit rolls would be really, really solid. And you could do some good work with the rest of the Beasts of Chaos army from that massive force multiplier. Plus, it's only 18 inches as well.
I think the other thing is as well, isn't it? Like normally, what you see in a Beasts of Chaos army is lots of dice rolling. So what you normally see is loads of hit rolls. So kind of making them more likely to hit is a great benefit.
Yeah.
However,
there's so many attacks coming out of this army all the time.
However, obviously that's not how Adam's kind of built his list. So probably a slightly worse kind of spell choice, I guess, in this list because it's not going to affect those cockatrices.
It's not going to affect them. You're right. At all. But I mean, it will affect them. But like, they'll get some plus attacks. They're not
I guess not on the attacks that they care about.
No. They really only care about those mortal wounds at this point. So unfortunately, and it's only melee. But yes. So Zangor Jack in the chat. You could do it on Zangor Enlightened. Wouldn't mind +1 to hit. There's a lot of units that wouldn't mind that +1 to hit generally. And 18-inch range is massive. So if you really do want to go nuke down a unit, it's a really good spell. It's a really good spell to come out of the War Scroll, the Underworld's warbands. There's like some of them are like really hit and miss, but some of them provide some excellent like additional rules for units. And don't forget, we've got Broken Realms coming up. If Beasts of Chaos get any sort of love in the Broken Realms, and we end up with some like strong units, some points changes, some War Scroll changes, I would be re-looking at that ability for that +1 to hit and looking to include it in my new and upgraded Beast of Chaos army.
Yeah, I think there's also that interesting debate, isn't there? Because we're about to see those Slangor land, and it'll be interesting to see if they have Beast of Chaos keyword.
Yeah, that will be true. That is true. Yeah, our new Slangor, whether or not they'll also have the Beast of Chaos keyword or even the Gore keyword, which would be fun. And yeah, of course, the good thing about Grashrak is when you do take him for his spell, you do also get Grashrak's Reavers. Or, as Grashrak in this situation is calling them, barbecue goat.
Yeah.
He comes with 5 goats ready for the fire to throw in, which is quite useful, ultimately. So we have seen the flight of the cockatrices is on the way, James. The flight
Here we go.
of the cockatrices. Hello, David Attal. Thank you, everyone, for joining us live. This is our first game of 3-game coverage today from this Fat Middle TTS event. There are loads of excellent lists playing. It'll be very fun to watch some of these games coming up. So I hope you guys do join us for the whole day. This is round 2. This is round 1, and this is battle round 2. And this is the bottom of battle round 2, and it's looking really tough for the Beast of Chaos army. But they're forcing those cockatrices. They do have a priority roll coming up though, James, and they potentially could get a load more shooting out these cockatrices if in the right setup. Yeah. How do you feel about that? What would you do?
I think it's that, isn't it? I think the problem is at this point, I think he's got to make the decision. So Adam, who's playing Beast of Chaos, has got to make a decision, hasn't he? Is he going for the moral victory? Is he just going to shoot as much as he can physically at that Maw Crusher in the hope to drop it, which is what it almost looks like he's aiming for? Or is he playing... Is he trying to play the game? In which case, you're going to want to...
He's doing it. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. The moral victory. That's what we're going for. Yeah? Nothing but... That's right. We are looking at this congress of cockatrices swarming here. I think it's because they're... But it's quite funny, because both of the 2 units that we're looking at are pretending to be dragons. The Maw Crusher's pretending to be a dragon.
Yep. Oh?
The cockatrices are pretending to be dragons, but they're chickens. And at the back of the board, look at that. The summoning
Here they
points.
are.
The line of goats summoned from the earth. I don't really know how that, like, are they summoned out of the forest? Is that what?
So they come out of the woods. So,
okay.
I think if memory serves me right, it's basically like a primordial. So I guess like you burn some goats, don't you?
Yeah.
So you put some on the barbecue.
Good
it
start.
Smells good. Goats eat goats, apparently. in the mortal realms. So I think the thing is, isn't it? So the barbecue smells good. The other goats smell the barbecue, and they think, "Oh, that smells tasty. Better show up."
Yeah.
So they come from whatever direction they were coming from, and they're going towards that barbecue. And then I guess they turn up and they're like, "Oh, I suppose I should probably help," because then the meat's cooked for longer and it tastes better.
Look at that. Are they able to deploy straight onto the objective? That's the real question.
So I think it's 6 on.
No, only one. Only one apparently is the math. Which is quite interesting, actually. If you do look at these objective markers, this has come across for me a couple of times when I've played these. These objective rings are super useful for you to understand what you want to do. If you just plonk a guy there, you can never teleport onto the objective. Like, it's always the best. Just put a guy right in the middle, and then you're just safe. You've given a 9-inch bubble to keep the whole area safe. And the amount of times that I've moved to like one end of the ring and someone's teleported a unit there and I've gone, what the hell have I done that for? So always something to keep your eye on if possible.
Yeah, I think it's that interesting thing, isn't it? Like when we made them, for me there was always an interesting point where when you actually see what that 6-inch bubble looks like is like mind-boggling when you see them on a board. I think, like, because you play I played for years without, obviously, and you're like, oh, 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inches, and then you put one down and you're like, oh, actually it's a large chunk of the board.
Okay, so we're into the shooting phase now. The flames. So this cockatrice is shot into the war chanter and unfortunately failed the shot. So 4 up to do d6 mortal wounds. I think we're going to see these two cockatrices into the gore grunters here.
Nothing.
Both failed. Both failed. They're 4 ups. Adam livid, absolutely livid. I've heard he just threw a dice across his room. So that is. So we're now firing into the Maw Crusher. We finally got one up. It's taken 3 mortal wounds to kick us off. Don't forget he's got 17 wounds because he's got +2 from all the things he's killed. So he's now basically he's lost 1 wound so far. So not bad. There is obviously 4 more cockatrices to do the job. It's probably unlikely.
I mean,
but we'll see.
There doesn't seem to be many mortal wounds going out of it.
So we just keep an eye out from our table boss here. What's happening exactly? This next cockatrice is shot into the Ard boys as well. We'll find out what the other ones are shooting into in a minute from the table boss. This would be the time when somehow we lose communication with him.
Well, I mean, there's loads of measuring going on, isn't there? So I'm guessing he's just kind of trying to work out where these wounds go.
Oh, so 4 more mortal wounds from the next one, from the Maw Crusher. So it looks like they're all going into the Maw Crusher. So that's 4 more. So he's now down to 11 wounds. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had +2. But that's fine. We've got 2 more. 11 wounds. Okay. Well, so he could check his war scroll. So the 2 more, he could kill him, James. Boxcars. Is he just rolled a 6? Oh no, that was. Oh no! Oh, it's a 6. With 1 cockatrice. He's got 1 cockatrice left to shoot. That's all he's got to do. He's got to hit and roll a 6. That's all he's got to do. Oh,
no, he doesn't even need a 6.
Goodness. Come on,
Doesn't
chickens.
even need a 6.
He needs a 5. That's what he needs. He didn't hit.
Oh,
heartbreak.
How disappointing.
Heartbreak. He does have 1 more. Oh, he's got 1 more left.
Come on, little lads.
Wow, let's go.
He's warming up the dice.
Warming it up. He hits. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it's a 5 or 6. Legends of the... Oh my God, I'm so nervous. Come on, let's go.
Exchange the dice.
Oh!
How disappointing.
How disappointing.
Reroll it. Reroll it.
Oh, heartbreak. So that is the last cockatrice. So the Maw Crusher, unfortunately, down to 4 wounds left. We were so close. That was heartbreaking, but hilarious. Hilarious fun. And I mean, when they do roll well, James, when it's just that flat 6 mortal wounds, you just drill through things, right? Like super quick.
It's interesting to see. I mean, most often you see D3. So like when it pops up D6 and you see that 6, like it's a lot of mortal wounds, especially
A
on an
lot.
army that has like very little way to negate them.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You're absolutely right. But of course, everyone in the Twitch chat, correct. A lot of people voted with their feet. They want the double turn. That's what they want to see. Hello, Mary Doc. Hope you're well. Big love. Yes, he should have. No, he should have 4 wounds left.
17, hadn't he?
He started with 17.
He's got 3 left.
Yeah. So he's got which is exciting. Exciting, and the double turn. I mean, he could charge in, James. He could charge in.
He could. I don't think he's gonna.
I don't think he should, but he might. So the Ungor at the top are charging now. So that's the end of our shooting phase. Not very overwhelming. The Ungor did not make their charge into the Weird Knob Shaman, so they are only contesting that top objective as opposed to taking it, which is unfortunate. Now, the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher is able to... I think he might be in range to... No, he's not in range to part in anywhere. So he's not locked in combat. This unit of Ard Boys are, and that's the only combat that we've got going on this combat phase. This unit of Gore Grunters were Bellacore the turn before, and then we're going to be going into turn 3. But big priority roll to come up. Big priority roll to come up. Oh, Moon Tyrannid, thank you so much for subscribing. Thanks to everyone who subscribed to join us live today. It'll be a whole day of live coverage. We've got Dan and Supervised later on the mic. Me and James smashing out this game, having a great time. And we've got our table boss, Matt the Intern, which is now the job role, but it is actually filled with Matt the Intern today. So well done there, Matt. Okay, so I think we'll find out some other stuff from the rest of the tournament, because don't forget, this is a big tournament going off on Tabletop Simulator, all organised through the Hammer Time Discord by Owen. And we found out that on Table 11, the Daughters of Cain army have beaten a Trog-heavy Gits list, which is about as surprising as the sun rising in the sky.
Who's playing a Trog list?
Both. There are 2 Gits players. And both of them are
madness.
They are wild. So we'll just get that from our table boss again, real quick.
Oh.
We got a priority roll. It was a draw.
Which means
a draw.
Iron Jaws win.
Iron Jaws. I mean, the Iron Jaws get the priority roll going into turn 3, which does look a bit dicey, James. A bit dicey. What do you think?
I mean, I guess the only benefit he's got is he's now got 10 Ungor at the back of the board he's going to have to deal with, but...
It's a rough time. Like, see, whenever things like this happen and you like, the Iron Jaws have won, like, I'm always like, well, let's end the show. But I'm like, do we want to see the death of the chicken dragons? Like, we want to see it, right? We want to see the wholesale murder.
Yeah, and I also think, like, there's a point at this bit, isn't there, where last turn I think we thought the Iron Jaws would do, like, a whole lot better. And I know, like, the Bellacore ability, stopping those Gore Grunters do anything for a turn, was super important, but it'll be interesting, because I think also it's been interesting to see, hasn't it, that the Ard Boys without a buff from the War Chanter, kind of rubbish.
Yeah.
Don't really do a lot.
Also, outside of Big War, where they can... so in Big War, where they get +1 to hit, +1 to wound, they're terrifying. But they do get a lot worse, you are right, when they are in like when they're in Iron Jaws. And then when they're not buffed, they're just They're just not brilliant. They're not cricket, but they're not really meant to be like a punchy unit.
Yeah, I think it's that interesting thing, isn't it? Where they're not really a punchy unit, but you can almost make them a punchy unit with like the War Chanter's abilities.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
Oh, them lads are going back. I like the idea that there was those Tenungur have come on for a barbecue, and all they've seen happen is like 15 hard boys turn around and thought, oh well, we ain't eating today, lads. Should have stayed in the forest.
Should have stayed in there. That's what they should have done. But they don't want to listen, do they? Right, so if you guys have enjoyed today, don't forget that there is going to be 2 more games of coverage today. So do join us for that. There's some great lists. We'll hopefully have some techier, more interesting, more fun lists for you to have a little breakdown of later. So that'll be super fun. There'll obviously be results coming in from the rest. So yeah, they'll be on. Oh, sorry, what was I saying? Yeah, there'll be results from the rest of the event as well that we'll be able to talk about. Like for instance, on table 20, the Halahor list have beaten the Mega Gargants 20-0 in again another result as unsurprising as rain falling from the sky. It is, but a fun time probably had by at least the Halahar player, and that would have been it.
Good old Halahar.
Yeah. Good morning, Faces and Bases. Who's going? Who's playing next game? So we haven't decided who plays the next game because we have to wait, like a normal tournament. We have to wait to see what results come in, and who gets paired against each other. So it's normally a mad scramble. There's some really, really fun lists available for us to watch later, though. There's a couple of really cool Archeon lists. There's a really good one in Slaves to Darkness, which is a Bravery Bomb list with some mercenary crit flayers. There's a really fun Archeon. I don't know. And then there's a fun there's a fun Archeon list in Sinesh, which is super fun. There's a big OCR Bone Reapers list with 12 Immortis Guard, which I'd like to watch, James. That'd be super cool. Staliarch Lords OCR Bone Reapers list as well. There's all sorts, James. There's all sorts. There's some amazing Cities of Sigmar list, which is the most populated faction at this event. There's a couple of Halahart lists. There's a Living City list with a Flame Hearts Phoenix. There is a 4 Hellpit Abomination list from the Skaven. There's a fun Big War list with Big Stabbers. There is 2 more Knights of the Empty Throne lists. There's loads going on, James. There's loads going on in this matter.
So, and I know you've done a list show yesterday, I think. Was it yesterday?
Yeah.
You did a list show?
Yeah, yes, sir.
But interestingly, so obviously, as someone that probably covers more Warhammer events than anyone else, do you think that the change to the meta, like shaking up the armies that people could select from, has made people bring more diverse lists than normal?
Yes. So if you guys aren't aware what James is talking about, this event, the 5 best performing factions were banned from playing, basically, from attending, which generally, I mean, there's already some very strong factions. Like Daughters of Cain are a very strong faction anyway. They actually have never not been a strong faction, and they got some buffs, which I think is interesting. So they're in there as well. But yeah, there's been a lot of diversity, which I think has been very, very, very useful and very cool. The Cities of Sigmar lists are pretty much what I would generally expect, although a couple of the Living City lists are good. And like I said, there's no Tempest Eye lists. So I think that's really fun and lots to break up there. The Ogre lists are fairly what I would expect, especially with the Stuart TM list available, which I think is good. The Slaves to Darkness list, Knights of the Empty Throne are the kind of the cool guy thing, like I talked about in a minute. So they're
not enough more orders for me.
Yeah, so they're fun. The Legion of Asgore list, you never expect to see that. That's fun. The Khorne list has got 8 Korgraths in, which is just wild and hilarious. Also the Legion of Chaos Descendant list is fun as well. So I think really what it is that there are just a load of factions that are just very, very good. And then now there are other factions that are being taken. So yeah, it's mixed it up. It's mixed it up at least because I'm not having to repeat Fangs of Sotek or Lumineth with Sire, which is fun, or like 18 eels or some turtles even now. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do that. I think it's a clever little play.
Well, I think it's always nice as well. I guess one of the ongoing benefits of TTS is, isn't it, that people don't have to have built and painted the army to use it. So I think almost like, let's just say, you've always been a Seraphon player, so you played the old book. The new book came out. Your army's super strong, but you don't realistically want to invest in another army. So if this was a normal normal IRL event, there would be kind of that weird point, wouldn't there, where you're like, oh, I've got to spend a fortune to kind of like join in and partake in this event. Yeah. So I'm probably not going to. Whereas one of the bonuses here is what we get to do is see kind of like the affecting it makes to remove some armies without actually affecting people's kind of like wallets or time and effort of building and playing an army. What is that Gotrek doing?
He's just floating around. You're right. I think a lot of people have more than one army though. But so it would be interesting to see at some events. And we see curated lists. We've seen before at events in real life, people have curated lists. There's been TOs who've been like, I'm going to say yes or no to different lists depending on to try and make it more friendly to new players. We've seen all sorts of stuff like this as well. I don't think the concept of community comp is particularly bad. Matt Readiness, thank you for subscribing, baby. So I don't think the idea of community comp is bad because ultimately what the TO who is Owen in this situation is trying to do, he's trying to make a more fun experience for the people who are playing. And I think that is, we're not saying ban them from all tournaments, just saying give people another option. And people have taken the option. Over 50 people playing at this event. 50 people playing at this event. And tell Adam stop messing around because he's a child.
And yet, but it's still amusing.
You are?
But it's still amusing.
It's still amusing. Yeah. Anyway.
Do you think that's his way of throwing his toys out of the pram?
It is 100% his way of throwing toys out of the pram. But that's okay. Now, we just get a quick update from the table boss. We're into the charge phase, movement phase for the Iron Jaws. We haven't seen any spells cast. Catch us up, table boss, because we were yammering. Oh, okay. So War Chanters have buffed themselves, looking to get into the fight, not particularly scared of the cockatrices, which I think is interesting. The Gore Grunters, they're still Bellicord, I'm pretty certain. Till the next turn, we'll see. That Maw Crusher, though, is looking to smoke some of those cockatrices. They're all going to die, aren't they? Like, each one of them is going to die.
100%.
Other results from what's happening over at the table. Wow, again, massive result for Stuart McCowan, who's been running like pretty much his list now. So a Ogre Maw Tribes list, which is the Tyrant Gut Guard War Scroll Battalion, and he always takes a load of Iron Guts in this list, loads and loads of Iron Guts. And Stuart's pretty much been like running this at loads of TTS events. He's inspired me. It's one of the armies I want to try and collect this year, James. Only I'm going to try and make it out of pirates, out of the Titan Forge range. I think that'll be super fun. He's just 20-0'd a Halahart list. 20-0'd a Halahart list, which I know that both of the Halahart lists had some Iron Drakes in, and they had a load of spellcasting as well. So another excellent result coming in from them. And watching that, we've seen that list play last time on the TTS event that we did coverage for. So it'll be fun to watch those guys play again. We're not going to cover that again this time around. I think one of the big problems, James, with doing these little one-dayers is there are so many cool lists that you want to try and cover. That try and fit them all in one day, that's tough.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because obviously, I think over the last, I guess, not year, the year before, so 2019, one of the things that got really kind of pushed for by the streaming coverage was that multiple table coverage. But I think like the interesting thing with TTS is it actually can be kind of a complex mistress to get right, and it almost makes that multiple table coverage impossible, right?
Exactly. There's lots of things to skin while we're still here at the TSN arena, waiting for events to happen. As soon as they do, we'll be able to bring you live coverage from the actual arena, live games. It's going to be super fun. But right now, this is just as fun, James, because we're still getting to talk about war dollies, and we get to watch. I mean, that moment then where the cockatrice could have killed the Maw Crusher, that's what we live for. That's the whole point, right?
I mean, if Adam could roll better, I hope he watches this back, and I'm just sat here just saying, roll sixes. And he didn't do it.
He didn't.
And I think that's the most disappointing thing about the game.
He rolled one, but he didn't roll two.
He rolled two, one after the other, and that's it all game. So disappointing. So disappointing.
So we are now about to be into the charge phase. We've just seen a tiny bit of shooting coming out of the Mega Boss or Maw Crusher. So then there's going to be some charges. And I think that's going to be game, unfortunately. Look at these three cockatrices. They're up against those Gore Grunters who are going to go smash. Don't forget, it's a big war. Not a big war. It's an Iron Sun's allegiance. So, there's lots of damage about to come, and we might see the death, the extinction of the chicken dragons, so it seems that the Iron Jaws have managed to weasel their way out of this one. Nice callback.
I mean, realistically, what we're probably looking at is, like I want to say on paper, the Iron Jaws army is the one that would consistently do better in any game.
Yeah. Like, they're not a meme list. They're a fun. They're a fun adventure list. They're really good. They're really good. They're super solid. You can you could toy around with the Iron Jaws list all day, but pretty much what you've seen is fairly cookie cutter, and it's a brilliant list. And it's like, it'd be fun to paint as well. You paint a big boy, you paint a magic boy, you paint a couple of drummer lads, and then you paint some piggies, and then you paint some like little fellas. I have to say, always wanted an Iron Jaws army. And it's
brought Blood Bowl, painted the Orc team, swore I'd never paint another Iron Jaw again.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Are they too intense?
I don't know. I just didn't. Do you know, like, some things you just start painting, don't you? And you're like, I don't enjoy this.
It's fair.
Maybe I should make a whole Iron Jaws army just out of Go Trek models. Go Trek on a dragon. Go Trek. Can you imagine that Art Boy unit that's just like 10 Go Treks and like turn up to an event and people just being like, sorry, what is this?
That's true. That would be super fun. Very much like Darren's Johan army.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun. So Mary Doc's asking, saying that Beast of Chaos need a new book this year. I agree with you. Beast of Chaos have needed a new book, though, for about since the Beast of Chaos book was launched, actually. So it'll be really good. Broken Realms. I'm hoping that the realms break open and loads of goat monsters fly out of the realms and take over. Because they need it. I'd say.
Warp Spider to my Go Trek army said just play Fire Slayers, but I can't tell them apart. Like, just I don't even know who's who.
Yeah. No, and also they're not fun to paint, as Mary Doc is saying in the chat. Has James been saying how good Ungar are again? Don't worry, Speckles. No one's been saying that at all.
It's best to go that are the best, and there isn't any. That's why he's lost, I think. I think that's why the Beast of Chaos list lost. Not because their book's bad. No, the Beast of Chaos list has lost because Adam can't roll dice, even digitally. However, some Bestigor might have helped.
Nothing would help out of the Beast of Chaos book. The strongest bit inside this book so far is that you can ally in Be'lakor. That's the strongest.
Yeah.
Anyway. Right, so we're in the dying throes of this game. We are. If you guys have just joined us, we're in turn 3. Priority roll has been won both times. Both times by the Iron Jaws, which has meant they've been able to push through the screens that were produced early by the Beast of Chaos player, and then unfortunately we saw those taken out. Okay, so we're just seeing there's a big unit of 15 Ardboys here who are looking to do a charge into this back unit of Ungor. They did fail the charge, so they're just re-rolling that charge now, and a 5 is not going to be enough to get the charge in. At all, so they are not in there. These grunters definitely going to get the charge off into the cockatrices. They're going to be fine. They made it. Oh, because they got +1 to charge. Oh, they've got +1 to charge because they're Iron Jaws, and then they've got +2 to charge from the drummer. So actually, they get +3 to charge natively. So that
nothing like rolling a 5 and getting an 8-inch charge,
yeah,
right?
Nothing. The only way it could be better is if you're a Marauder, because Marauders
who are the best at charging?
They're the best at charging. They're the best at marauding. That's what they are.
Maraudering round the board. Oh dear! Look at that. Those poor Ungor just came for a picnic.
They did. They're in some trouble as well. This could be like an almost complete wipe at this stage. There's going to be a lot of dead cockatrices. At which point, we could pretty much confidently say the game is over. So we're just going to let these dice roll. So Twitch chat, what sort of armies would you like to see next, James? Okay.
No, let's.
No,
what
go
was
on.
you going to say?
No, that's it. No, what sort of armies do you think? Yeah.
I think I think it'd be nice. I think the event kind of just pushing towards people taking kind of armies and lists that don't normally exist. Is something exciting. I think it'll be nice to see armies play each other that we haven't seen in a while. I think obviously that Slaves to Darkness list that uses allies to bravery bomb people off the board's interesting, because you're using a mechanic from one army that I would say doesn't really get to use it, and then linking in a unit that allows you to use that kind of bravery mechanic. I mean, I'd always want to see 4 Hell Pit Abominations.
Always. Although we've done a meme list today, but the 4 Hell Pits would be arguably just as good.
That's not a meme list. That's 4 Hell Pits. Strong lads.
So they are strong lads. We did just hear, unfortunately, one of my favourite lists from the event, I have just heard has lost. So over on table 8, Daughters of Cain beat Arthur's OBR. Oh, that OBR list was it's Praetorian's list, but it had 12 Immortis Guard in it. Catacross and 12 Immortis Guard, which have just been super fun. We obviously are only going to be covering armies that have won their first games. There are no squigs at the event because they didn't get any good rules updates, so they suck. But don't let Nathan catch me saying that. And the Troggoths, unfortunately, both have lost. Only one of those results is actually in at the moment, but the other one also has lost because they've got Troggoths. Like if you win a game with your Troggoth army, you're smashing it. You turn up to the event and you've got your Troggoth army, you roll it out on the table and you win one game. Everyone's like, you deserve a standing ovation, like a round of applause, big clap. But that they'd be
an army from an allegiance where they get no abilities.
We don't know whether or not the Help It is won, but we have just heard that another Daughters of Cain army has won versus Karajon Overlords as well. So that's actually, of the 4 Daughters of Cain lists, 3 of them are Hagnar and one is Calibron. All 3 of those 4 DOK lists have already won their games.
Is this going to be an event where, because Daughters of Cain aren't in the top 5 now, they just smash their way out because they're still super strong?
Well, the top 5 is really like a gut feeling. It is a gut feeling, ultimately. So it would be very fun to see Janice the Vargulf. Have you heard about the nuclear Vargulf yet, James?
I have not. Please, pray tell more.
Okay, so you know how previously you would take a G-Cot, or a Ghoul King or Terrorgeist, and then you would buff him up with plus the attacks, and then you would send him off and do that. The Vargulf Courtier with the Chalice, is it? There's a special artifact, which I can't remember the name, but you can basically buff him up so he can do about 30 damage a turn.
Right.
And then he can fight twice.
Nice. I mean...
And he's on a very small base, so it's like a little intercontinental ballistic Vargulf. Just buff him up to pieces, you fire him forward like a nuke. Yeah, that's it, thank you. The Billuous Decanter is what it is. Morning, Jazz. Big love to you. What are the top 5 that got banned? So the top 5 that got banned were Seraphon, Lumineth, Idoneth Deepkin, Fire Slayers, and Nurgle. I think Nurgle Blight King spam was basically seen as a no, which is interesting because the Slaves to Darkness lists actually are mainly keyword mark Nurgle as a way to get around it. So there's Slaves to Darkness Allegiance. There's even a Slaves to Darkness list with the Plague Touch Warband in it, which is very funny. Very funny. Oh yeah, and also Tzeentch. Tzeentch also got banned. Sorry. So 6 might have been banned. Tzeentch was definitely banned. Definitely. Lumineth, Idoneth, Tzeentch, Seraphon, Fire Slayers, Nurgle. I think, that's right. So KO aren't top 5. Well, so interestingly, Stephen, no one brought KO to Tabletop Simulator events. It's been like a constant conversation that's been going on. Loads of the Tabletop Simulator events that have been happening recently, KO just haven't been brought time and time again. And so really there was no information for Owen to really ban them up from. It's not that they're not good. It's just that no one at any of his events was ever taking them, so he didn't need to ban them. And now there are 2 here, and 1 has already lost their first game. So, but they are both Ziflin lists with a spell in the bowl. So, if that helps anyone. And then also, we have just heard that Daughters of Cain have also beat Ironjaws as well. So that is all 4 Daughters of Cain armies have won their first game. So, that's pretty good. OBR fare pretty well, but OBR are not in what we would consider to be the S tier. They are more in the A category. So that top tier of things, pretty much what we talked about, with maybe the exception of Nurgle. Nurgle seems like an odd pick, but Plague Touch Warband's really strong, and obviously Blight King spam is super strong as well in Nurgle. Thrice Befoulment also making some pretty strong showings recently. Fire Slayer is also really, really good. They're generally not seen in TTS events though, because they just suck. Right, okay, so we're into the combat phase. As you can see, one cockatrice is dead. The other cockatrice is alive.
Madness.
Oh, wow. So the War Chanter has charged in over here with smashing and bashing and did not, unfortunately, kill the cockatrice. I think Ironjaw's getting a bit cocky now. Oh, over here. 2 War Chanters have charged in, James. They're all having it. They're all in.
Yeah, I think he's at the point, isn't he, now, where he's just hoping he's just going to rinse the table, I think, at this point.
Yes. I think he's looking to... I think he's looking to take it all out, James. He's looking to murder everything that we could see, right?
Yeah. And I think, I mean, at this point, he's dominating the table, isn't he? So... Now's the time, I guess, to push for kind of a guaranteed win.
Well, he's already won, hasn't he?
Why?
He's already won, which is why we were yammering about the meta for
True. Okay, all right.
But yeah, you're right. He has won. He says we'll see these cockatrices go down, and then what we're going to do is we're going to have a break, and then we'll be back at midday, ladies and gentlemen, midday. Which is an hour and a half away. That's correct? Yeah. There's only actually 30 minutes left of this round. They're taking their bloody time about it, aren't they?
For 2 turns.
2 turns. So yeah, and then we'll be covering for the rest of them. Can we please not see Daughters of Cain at list play? Mr. Tiga, don't worry about that. I'm as unlikely to want to see that as you are. Trust me. I don't need to see Hagar, Daughters of Cain ever play. Not one time. Not one time in my life. Although one of them isn't. One of them is Calibron with an Iron Scale Melusai from the new box set, and a bunch of snakes. But I still don't want to see it, James. As much as I like the Daughters of Cain, I just don't want to see it. I don't want to see any elves, really. I don't want to see Daughters of Cain. I don't want to see anything that's been like slothed out of Slaanesh recently. Some Idoneth Deepkin, some Lumineth, they can all just stay in the pot. Although, those new air elves look pretty sweet.
From the teaser.
From the teaser. What did you think? Were you excited? What do you think about the new Palanquin boy?
That is a pretty model.
It's too pretty for me. I'm never painting that.
Yeah,
too pretty.
Every person I saw comment on that model was just like, nah, not painting that. Not building that. Not painting that. No chance.
Right, okay. It's going to be a single unit inside London Lords. Okay, we've lost another one. We've lost another cockatrice over here. In at this top, this unit of Ardboys are looking to hit those Ungor, so they are dominating the board space. This is a real aggressive show of dominance that we're seeing here.
Orcs doing orc things.
Orcs they're very dominant. There might just be like a single cockatrice left in the middle. Like, what happened? This is not okay. Or it could just be the the orcs respecting the cockatrices, because we know that they like to be alone. We know that they like being solitary, and so maybe the orcs respect the cockatrice's right to be alone far more than the Beast of Chaos overlords ever do. Maybe actually this is more of like a liberation thing. Why don't we think about it like this? This is a more friendly way to think about it. What if the orcs are never killing the cockatrices? What if they're just freeing him from their chains of bondage by their evil Beasts of Chaos overlord masters? You know, they've seen them chained up, being made to fight and stare at things, and they've like, you be free, you wild chicken dragon of the realms. And they're freeing them, and they're taking them back to their little, like, camp. Maybe they're keeping them as pets.
Maybe. Taking them home. They haven't got any nets, though. No netters. Could do with some netters to catch some birds.
They do need some netters to catch some birds. That would work quite well as well.
And what do netters do? -1 to hit? Do you know you -1 to hit?
All day long. All right, so this charge at the back, we're seeing this unit of Gore going as well, these Ungor, and that's it. That is it. Right, well, listen, this game is just over, so we're going to go. Like,
Poor cockatrices.
Poor cockatrices. It's been a fun little time. 1 second, let's cut. Bam! Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So yeah, a fun game, James. What do you think?
Yeah, it was good, and I think realistically, it was nice to see the damage output those cockatrices could do, even when they kind of got stomped. And I think actually there was a point in there where if Adam had actually have won that priority roll, he could have maybe had a bit of a comeback, but it just wasn't his day.
Wasn't his day. But it is our day because we get to do an entire day of live. There's an entire day of live coverage to come. We're not watching the cocks get choked out. We're not, because I'll just have to like waffle over the top of that for an hour and a half because they're too slow. They're way too slow. When I watched that Ungor, those Ungor unit took 2 minutes to kill, I was like, I'm not watching this. This is a murder for me. It's too much. But the results are in, and it is unfortunately an end for the Beast of Chaos army. But we will be back. We will be back in an hour and a half time. We'll be back in an hour and a half time where you can join us for more Age of Sigmar live coverage. It's very exciting, and we'll let you know what else has happened around. There's one last result coming in very quickly for you guys. James, you had a fun time?
Yeah, it's been great.
Good. Oh, and that is that the ogres, some more ogres have beat Living City. which is nice. The Living City list, quite interesting and dynamic, actually. So I've enjoyed those Living City lists. There's also a Hammerhall list with 1 billion Phoenix Guard, which is horrific, which I'm pretty certain we're going to see in round 3. So you guys will see us there. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Please do let us know what you think, and do join us again later. When I go into the holding screen now, you guys will see, the overlay, and you will see the times. But big love to you. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to everyone who supports us every day. 2 more games of coverage today, so we'll see you soon, and have a great day.